Hello and welcome to One-on-One Sports. I'm your host, Mike Feldman.
And I'm Andrew Springs. Today we reminisce about one of the most exciting tournaments of our lifetime.
We're also going to compare pro and college basketball, look forward to the baseball season, and talk a little Tiger.
Stay tuned. One-on-One Sports starts in 30 seconds.
In case you missed it, Duke has won the national championship. But Springs, do you think they were the best team this year, or was this a situation where a team had to win and Duke was the one that did it?
I think the general consensus, at least nationally, is that this was a very balanced tournament. Extremely balanced, like we haven't seen in many years. And while we all would have loved to have seen a Kansas-Kentucky final,
Which
we
I
didn't,
projected
exactly,
and got wrong.
Exactly, we didn't get it. So we were left with Butler-Duke. Now, is Duke the best team? De facto, yes. Did they have the easiest road to the championship?
Yes.
Absolutely. Butler beat quality teams like CUSA regular season champion UTEP, Murray State, who hadn't lost a game.
Very close game there, a 2-point game against Murray State.
Exactly, hadn't lost a game in the Ohio Valley Conference. Syracuse, number one ranking during the season. Kansas State, only team they couldn't beat this year was Kansas, and they also beat Michigan State, who was a good Big Ten team. They had a very tough road. If they had won the national championship, I would have said yes, Butler is the best team. But Duke won. They had a very easy road. They won every game except the championship by at least 8 or 10 points, I think. So I would have to say no, Duke is not the best team this year. They just happened to win it.
I'm going to agree with you here, Springs. I think looking at the regular season, Kansas and Kentucky were clearly number 1 and number 2, and the way the tournament shaked out, it didn't happen for them, but, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles, and they'll just be ranked high next year.
Can't wait for next year. Spring training is over, and the Sox and Yanks kicked off the baseball season on Sunday. People put a lot of stock into what happens in spring training, but how important do you really think this is in terms of an impact on the regular season?
I don't think it has a huge impact on the regular season. I think it more affects the 23rd, 24th, and 25th guys on the roster. I mean, like if you look at a team like the Red Sox, they knew Josh Beckett's starting opening day. They know Kevin Youkilis is playing first base. You know, they have their lineup set. It's the Scott Schoenweises of this world making the 25th spot on the roster that's important for those kind of teams. And then if you look at the prospects, the guys that are borderline, if they have a great spring training, they go out there and they dominate, then they're going to make the club.
Example being Jason Hayward of the Braves.
Jason Hayward, who had a great game.
Exactly. What I think I would put a lot of stock in is pitching. Not hitting so much, because you can go 3 for 30 in spring training, and I wouldn't really give a hoot. But pitching, if you have 6 appearances and your ERA is still above 10, and you're walking a lot of guys, then I'd be concerned about not only your control, your velocity, and everything else that goes into being either a bullpen or a starting pitcher.
Absolutely. And you got to see what kind of stuff you're bringing. You know, if you're coming out there and you're throwing a lot of balls or your curveball's just not breaking, then maybe it's time to look at the mechanics.
Exactly.
Oregon tried to bribe Tom Izzo into being their head coach, and everyone in the NBA is clearing cap space to try to get LeBron. Is there any loyalty left in sports?
Absolutely. I think there is. You see it with guys like Ben Jacobson getting a 10-year extension in Northern Iowa, and especially, I think, and I know I talk about college basketball a lot on the show, Mark Few at Gonzaga. Mark Few will never leave Gonzaga. You know why? He doesn't have to. He's got a great school system in Spokane. He wants his kids to grow up there, and that, for him, is his dream job. Now, we see coaches every year, like Brian Kelly at Cincinnati, scurry off to that better job, but I really do believe that there are a few prime examples that, you know, show that there is loyalty left in sports.
I think loyalty is dead in sports. It is about winning, and it is about money. And, you know, we look at, like, Charlie Weiss gets a 10-year extension from Notre Dame. He's their guy. Next year he's out, and enter Brian Kelly. But so I think the ultimate determinant to see if it's completely dead is if LeBron returns to Cleveland, then I'll have a little more faith and loyalty in sports.
Realist, optimist. Just a year ago, Tiger Woods was the golden child of the sporting world. Obviously, some things have gone wrong since then, but with his massive scandal, who steps into his shoes as the quid pro quo best role model in sports?
I think the golden boy kind of era in sports, we're in a lull right now. Tiger was clearly that guy. I don't think tennis is big enough to have someone in, like LeBron James. You know, he has his off-court scandals just like everyone else. I think LeBron's the best athlete we'll ever see, but in terms of a golden boy, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit.
I think if you really dig deep enough, you can find dirt on anyone. Obviously, we found that out with Tiger Woods. I think Roger Federer is a really good example. I know he's not in one of the 4 major sports, but if you look at a guy like Roger Federer, still rents an apartment, doesn't buy one of these gaudy mansions, has a wife, a kid on the way.
But tennis is just isn't exciting.
Understandable, but if you're talking about a role model and you really had to pick someone, Roger Federer is a great one.
He's also not American.
True.
But we're looking for a great American hero or our golden boy. Personally, I'd say Tom Brady, but he's on the decline.
Give it a rest.
We'll have to step away to check the scores, but when we come back, Spring sits down with some passionate basketball fans, Tom Waterman and Rich Ryan, to figure out which is better, college or pros. Don't go anywhere.